More people are struggling to hit record than I realised. Or maybe it's the algorithm feeding me all these different comments lately. And I thought maybe I have something to say about that subject. And also, I need the practice of speaking to camera and trying to be normal. You've seen I've put a bloopers up of me trying to be normal. It's quite hard work. Trying to hit record. What can I say? It really helped. Number one, it really helped me to do a short video. I didn't want a channel of shorts. I had no interest in making shorts, but it really helped me to hit record to know that it was under 1.5 minutes. I think you're supposed to do under a minute for a short, but I had this target of it being under 1.5 minutes. And that really helped. And it also meant that if I went over the 1.5 minutes, as I was just ad libbing and speaking to the camera, I stopped it and then re-recorded it, and it wasn't a big deal. But it was interesting that for ages I'd pushed back about that in my own mind, and I thought, no, I'm not going to do shorts because I want to have a conversation with people, and I wanted something a bit more long form, and that's what I watch. I tend to watch longer form, but it was really useful. Something I knew from my kind of teaching public speaking days, which I don't talk about much here, is that when I was in the classroom, the hardest bit is getting up and calming yourself down and then ending it all as neatly as you possibly can and sitting down again. So I knew that. So when I was in the classroom, it would be 1 minute or 2 minute talks rather than doing one big long prepared speech, because I needed them to get up, have a go, get some feedback, and then know what they're doing to be better the next time. Get up, have a go. And then really you should be at a point where the feedback should be that you know what to do to get better, which is kind of what prompted me to make the video. I was just watching a video and they were saying about when you make a video, you know what to do to improve on it next time. And I would kind of agree with that. I think for me, it would be lovely to have more interaction. Generally, like my husband and my daughter, their main feedback is it doesn't sound like you yet. But they say I'm getting closer, but they say it doesn't sound like me. And my mum has said that too. A few other people have said they like that it's casual and different things like that. So that's useful feedback. But it isn't, and I've had some feedback about wearing makeup, the clothes I wear, and the lighting, and those kind of things. But I didn't feel like some of those things were particularly helpful to give me something to focus on. Does that make sense? So I'm just trying to think in aloud right now. Is that it kind of falls into a few different batches? Is that there's the technical stuff. I feel overwhelmed by that. I'm aware that the lighting isn't good. I've tried different things. There seems to be some automatic sensor. I have a light here. Let me just see if it does. I go darker, and so I go darker now, and then at some point, yeah, the computer just adjusts. What can I say? And then lighter, so yeah, lighter, brighter, and then I'll suddenly slowly get darker. So some of the technical stuff, I just feel like I'm aware I have that in a box in my brain somewhere. I'm aware that it exists. I'm aware that there's all that advice exists, but it's too overwhelming because I'm still working up the courage each day to hit record. It isn't just something that, although I'm on day 46 or 47, I'm still thinking about that. I'm still being quite deliberate. It's not a habit. It's not natural. It's not comfortable. So all that technical stuff, I kind of have, as I say, I have it as a box in my brain that I'm aware that all that stuff exists and the editing and everything, but it's a bit too overwhelming to do right now. Then there's what was I thinking? I said three boxes. I don't know what the three boxes were. One of the other big things is a trend. The trend is I'm trying to sound like me. I know I'm trying to sound like me. I know when it starts getting a bit teachery, performery, and I have to kind of try and relax myself. I want to sound like I'm talking to you. I but I'm really struggling because there's no interaction. I don't have you there to interrupt me and me interrupt you and chitter chatter type of thing. But I do feel like what I've done is I've noticed what I'm doing normally when I speak to my family, particularly. And I've started writing down some words. I'm just trying to think what it was this morning. Oh, I was saying to my daughter, she hasn't had a breakfast. She was getting ready for school, but being a bit slow and going off and creating a flag of Texas, and as you do. And I was like, you need to eat. But I didn't say like you need to eat. I was like, you need to eat. You need to eat my feet. And I'm kind of embarrassed doing that to the camera. But I felt like I couldn't do that kind of thing on camera because it would seem like I'm performing. But actually this teacher bit is probably more performance like than how I speak normally in my normal life. But it's been really useful to actually notice that and to write that down. It's like, oh, I tend to rhyme things and I tend to sing along things. And that's how I speak. Now, obviously, I get passionate. And I was asking my daughter about this. I said, what's the difference between how I speak on camera and how I speak to you? And my husband said the same. Both of them said, I'm louder in person. But they also said I emphasize words more. And in a way, I was thinking, well, that's again, that you could argue that that's more of a performance in real life, me exaggerating things and sing song. You could say that's more performance, but actually, that's more how I am normally. So we got technical, performance, authentic performance. And then the third box is what what practical things you're doing each day to get better at the videos. Martha, let me just think of her name. I think it's Martha Beck. She wrote a book called North Star. She's really rather lovely. Anyway, she spoke about eagle view and mouse view, and she was saying how eagle view is you're looking at the big picture type of thing, and maybe that's like what am I trying to create on the channel. But she also said about mouse view as in daily tasks. And what I thought was particularly interesting and relevant to me is she was talking about being ill, and that if you're ill and you can't do mouse tasks, it might be a chance to do eagle, or vice versa, depending on your your mental capacity. If you're so overwhelmed, if it's all too much, then maybe just doing the little mouse tasks is what you need to do and switch by. And I found that that's really useful to think about, is that sometimes in terms of improving the videos, I can take a broader view, and it's quite fun. I've been making tons of notes. I like felt tip pens, and I like colouring and scribbling and writing words down and researching on YouTube. Not researching how to do YouTube, but researching, I don't know, at the moment I was watching something the other day about frames in storytelling. And I'd heard of reframing an idea, but I hadn't heard of frames in a script and storytelling. But that made me think of something else and something else. And I was thinking, okay, that's kind of big picture. I want to talk about storytelling. I want to talk about expressing yourself. I want to talk about going public. All those things, that's kind of big picture. But then there's this little mouse task. And what I found is if I can get my bum into the studio and sitting and recording, and then I hit record, later I think to myself, should I put like those little subheadingy, transcripty things? I can't remember what they're called, but the words at the bottom. Should I do that? And I have to learn how to do that. And then I have to learn how to automatically upload the video. And then I have to learn, is it possible to do a short clip from this video? I don't turn up and say to myself, big grand plans, this is how I'm going to improve on my videos. I say, And it's just giving that little bit of momentum, which is interesting because I've been learning about ADHD, and they say start with the smallest task. Don't do the whole eat the frog worst task first. Start with the smallest task and kind of build up to it. And I think that's really true for me, is that if I think about how to improve the videos, it's too overwhelming, it's too much. But I am improving a little bit at a time. And I think you'll find that too. I think there is a possibility of it just being such an intense feeling of risk, of being public. And there are videos on my channel with no views at the moment, and there are videos on my channel with 500 views. And I don't know. I don't know what the future is, but there's definitely that intense feeling of what I'd like to do is just be a little bit public and kind of figure out what I'm doing. But I know that the risk, I'm not going to find my people, and the whole point is to find my people. I kind of have to go big, and that's risky because in that bigness, I'm going to pick up some people that maybe I don't want to be in my world. And you will too. But yeah, so about doing videos, I can't remember where I started. Oh boy, I can't remember. This is why you need a microphone on a stand so that you can just rest your head and just when you're thinking to yourself, what am I doing? You can rest your head on the microphone. So yeah, he was talking about how you know what to do to get better. I think there's all these different viewpoints. I have the bucket for technical, but I also know that that's a bit too overwhelming. I have my overall trend. I'm aiming for more natural, and I'm trying to define that and put that into words as I go. And I'm also noticing that I need that little bit of momentum. And when I have that little bit of momentum and energy, then I start to experiment with a couple of other little bits. But for me, because my goal was about being me and finding 1,000 true fans of people who could cope with me and were okay with my voice and the things that I find interesting, that's taken a lot of pressure off because I don't have to be perfect. And because if you're looking for perfect, you're not going to be listening right now. If you're looking for slick and cuts and the edits and everything else, then you're not going to be here. So I hope that helps in terms of videos and improving. I'm on day 40. I know that this Sunday is day 50, and I've got kind of things planned as a bit of a celebration. So that's quite exciting. I've recommended daily videos, haven't I? I've recommended get your bum into the office and hit record and then let that momentum take you. Yeah, I would recommend being imperfect all the time. But that's just me. See, again, I feel like I'm performing, but this is how I would talk normally. Bye.